This is the Getting Into Alignment podcast. Here we play in the quantum world of possibilities. If you desire it, you get to have it. My name is Alexa Ray Smith. I'm a business coach and spiritual teacher for women in business. I'm here to help you unlock your personal power and tap into your magnetism so that you can manifest the most incredible life for yourself and build the business of your dreams. These episodes will help you plug into the energy of infinite potentiality and teach you the tools you need to play in this world where limitations don't exist. On this podcast, I'll be talking to you about energetics, mindset, embodiment, spirituality, money, and business. Everything that you want is on the other side of you getting into alignment. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Getting Into Alignment podcast. I'm your host, Alexa Ray Smith, and I am so excited that you are here. These are going to most likely be shorter now because I'm just gonna get right to it. If you've ever been in any of my programs, if you've ever been on a live with me, you know that I'm not that person that's like, like all the pleasantries. Nah, we don't have time for that. Let's just get into it. You're busy, I'm busy. Let's go. We are actively co-creating our dream lives. So sometimes we just need to get right into the meat and potatoes of it, you know? So this actually came through to me while I was cooking lunch. And this is one of those things that I need you guys to know. First of all, when we talk about receiving downloads from the universe, you don't necessarily need to be sitting in a meditation for an hour. Yes, I think you should be meditating. I think everybody should be meditating. I think that's the one thing that every single person on this planet should be doing. But I need you to know that there's going to be a point where you have done so much personal development work. You've meditated so much. You've done so many hypnoses. You've done so much EFT tapping, you've done all of the things and you've been doing it for a very long time. Get to this certain level where you are just on a different frequency. And that means that when you are in the present moment, these really short and potent downloads can come through, and these downloads can literally be life-changing, and they can have so many codes even when they're one sentence. And normally when I get on the podcast, that's exactly what it is. I've got one sentence and I'm like, let's go, just so I at least have an idea of what we're talking about. Because y'all know me, I could talk and talk and talk and talk for days. So I'm not trying to waste your time by just blabbering on. I want to have at least somewhere where we're going to it. So this channeled through to me while I was cooking, and I was like, oh my God, this is so good. This is one thing that I find a lot of people struggle with, and a lot of people get stuck in this frequency because they haven't learned this lesson. And one, because I think that not a lot of mentors or teachers in the digital space, I don't find a lot of people talking about this conversation. You hear everyone and their mother talking about emotional intelligence and personal power and investing in yourself and money mindset. And all of these things are very, 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 very essential and important. But one thing that I find a lot of people don't have this land and click. And I'll be honest with you, my last mentor, not my current mentor, but my last mentor, she said it in a different way, but she said it in this really short one-liner. And quite honestly, I invested thousands of dollars in that container. And this was the most profound thing that I took away from it, but I'm going to phrase it a little differently because this is how it came through my vessel and was channeled through. Might be the format we're going with is me just reading off the exact download and then me riffing on it. I feel like that's a good vibe. That's how we went with the last one. Last one was a little longer, but hey, freshly back 2024, let's make waves. So let's get into it. And also, I feel like these are more vibey. You're hearing me it's not as dry. Let's bring the personality through, because if you know me in person, I got a big personality. I'm always joking. We be laughing in my world. We be laughing. We're doing work, but we be laughing and having a good time. So the download was, you can choose to keep struggling with a problem, or you can do the work to no longer identify with the struggle or the problem. I'm gonna read that again for you. You can choose to keep struggling with a problem, or you can do the work to no longer identify with the struggle or the problem. Tell me that wasn't activating as fuck. How long have you been allowing yourself to struggle with the same problem? I know that that's kind of a bitter pill to swallow because you don't get to play a victim and you have to take full responsibility and accountability for the fact that you are deciding that. Like I always tell you, it's a conscious choice or it's an unconscious choice, but either way, it's a choice. Are you doing the work to become conscious so that way you can choose accordingly? Or are you avoiding doing the work because it's way easier to live unconsciously and play a victim? I'm not going to entertain you. If you're in the victim frequency, I'm going to help you to rise to my level. But victims aren't successful. And like, honestly, 99% of the population is still living in the matrix, in this fear paradigm, in this scarcity paradigm, in this victim frequency. And I'm over it. I don't know about you, but I'm over it. But this was something that I really needed to hear someone speak on because I was like, oh, snap. Oh, snap. So the thing about it is let's talk about money. How long have you been doing the money mindset work? How long have you been trying to master wealth? How long have you been trying to get to a certain income level and you're still not there yet? How long? Because if you are still working on something that you have been working on, like a very specific, tangible goal, like I want to make $10,000 a month, I want to make $30,000 a month, but you know what I mean? I think money is just such a good place to talk about it because there's a lot of people who are, and no shame or blame, I was one of those people. That's why I can speak on this, where I dedicated so much of my life to reading every wealth consciousness book, to learning all of the money mindset things, to taking any money mindset program I could, to listening to all of the money mindset programs, to listen to every money coach, to listen to every wealth coach. Like, I just was immersed in it. But I wasn't actually seeing a lot of movement in my 3D. Actually, I was seeing the opposite because I was investing so much money to learn about money and I wasn't making the money that I was going into debt. Like, I put myself in some really bad situations financially because of the fact that the conversation was just take a leap and the universe will meet you there and don't have a backup plan. You need to be all in. You just need to trust the universe. Da, 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 da. Like a lot of shit that didn't talk about how you needed to heal and regulate your nervous system because otherwise it wasn't going to work. So that's why in my world I call it money work and we don't just do money mindset because I have been a victim of the money mindset work and honey, it's not good. It's not good. But I use money as an example because I am not the only one that's in this situation. Money is the most highly programmable topic in the world. And I would say that love is probably the second. So maybe you're really good with money and you're good in that lens, but maybe when it comes to dating, you're a hot mess. Or maybe you're great with dating, but when it comes to health, you can't get it together. Whatever your personal hot mess of the moment is, and potentially not just of the moment, but something you've actually been struggling in. One thing that I need you to know is that if you have been struggling in an area for a certain period of time and it's something that you've been actively working in, it's one thing to be struggling in an area and not be doing shit about it, because then, like, of course, you're still struggling. But I mean, when you are still struggling, even after you've taken some programs, even after you've read some books, even after you've listened to some podcasts, or in my case, like you did all of them, and it's like, is there anything else that I can listen to? Is there anything else that I can read? Is there anything else that I can sign up for? And it's just like you just stay stuck in this student, I need to keep learning more, learning more, learning more. But it's like, what if you didn't need to learn anymore? What if you knew everything that you needed to know? Because I find that a lot of the times it isn't that we don't know. Because if you want to learn how to manifest money, or if you want to learn to change your relationship with money, you read the books, you listen to the podcasts, you join the programs, and most people are saying the same thing or similar things. They're just saying it in their own perspective or adding their own take on it. But at the end of the day, the foundations are very, very similar. And so it's like, and with relationships, it's the same thing. In any topic that you pick, it is very, very similar. And so it's like, It's not that you need more information. What if you actually just needed to really start applying the information? And I know that that can kind of be like a gut punch because it's like, what do you mean? Like, I'm really just struggling in this area. If knowing more was going to get you out of the struggle and you already know more than you did, wouldn't you not be struggling anymore? It isn't about, like, yes, knowledge is power, but what's actually powerful is embodying a new frequency and having a new relationship in that area. And so I find a lot of the times we have gotten so deeply immersed in this struggle story and in the fact that this particular topic is something that's very difficult for us that we're not allowing the one book, the one program, the one mentor, the one resource to be enough. And then just taking and extracting the wisdom that we genuinely needed to know and applying it to our everyday life. And this is why you'll often hear me say that I'm hesitant to give out books. Like when people are like, Alexa, what book did you read? I genuinely don't believe that reading one book is going to transform your life. It is you being able to extract the wisdom from that book and actually make tangible changes in your life from the information, from the perspectives that you read in the book. If you just keep reading books though, and you don't actually change your relationship with the topic, if you don't actually change the way you think about that topic, if you don't actually change the way you feel about that topic, if you don't actually change how you see yourself in relation to that topic, whether it's love, whether it's money, whether it's health, whatever it is, if you don't change the way that you relate to that thing, if you don't change your behavior towards it, if you don't change your actions towards it, if you don't change your language towards it, if you don't change your thoughts towards it, this is when you keep repeating this cycle. And it isn't because you don't know enough. You do know enough, but you're not allowing that information to drop from knowledge that lives in your head to embodied wisdom through life experience. So this can look like you have read the same money book 5 times and you're still reading it, but you're still in the exact same situation you were when you read it the first time. Is that book actually helping you to change? It could be argued that it's helping you to reprogram your mind because you're absorbing the new information. But at the end of the day, if you aren't able to apply the information that you're getting from the book, that's where the disconnect is. And I truly believe that that's one of the reasons why the coaching industry and the digital online course creation industry, why they really blew up, because of the fact that there's a lot of self-help books, there's a lot of personal development books, there's a lot of spiritual awakening books, there's a lot of money books now. And of course, there's like 1% of people that they could just read something and they immediately apply it and they have results, but it's because they read it and applied and they got the results. If you're not applying the information, and this is where I see a lot of people struggling, is they don't know how to apply the information specifically to them, specifically to their experience. And because they don't know how to apply it, it isn't helping to transform their life. It isn't just reading a book. It isn't just listening to a podcast. It isn't just taking one program. It's about what you do with the information you're given. That's why someone could have taken 1,000,001 money programs by now and they could still be struggling to make a 10K month, while one person took one money program, applied everything that they were told in it, and they're now at 100K months. And it could have been the same program that the people took, but the other person just went to another program because their story was still, I'm struggling in this area. I'm struggling with money. Money's so hard for me. While the other person realized, well, I can't have a story that struggle with money is required. I can't have a story where money is a problem for me. I can't keep having this identification with money because this identification is keeping me poor. So that person worked on their identity, they worked on their behavior, they worked on their action, they worked on their beliefs, they worked on their habits. And because they were able to do all of that, by applying what they learned in the program or by working with a mentor or getting into a closer proximity space, whatever it is, it's about deciding that you are no longer going to identify with the problem or the struggle. And then you are applying the information that you were given to transform your self-concept to become somebody that no longer lives on the struggle bus, that no longer has the perspective of somebody who's in problem frequency. So I want to ask you, is there something, some area in your life that you have been trying to manifest for a year, 2 years, 3 years? Because it isn't that it's not going to manifest or it doesn't work out for you. It's that the frequency that you're in and the perspective that you have with that quote unquote problem is the problem. It's the fact that you are viewing it from this lens. And when you view something from problem frequency, you're constantly trying to fix it and solve the problem instead of realizing that the problem is the way that you're perceiving it. So instead, you're going to work on no longer identifying with the struggle. You're going to work on no longer identifying with the problem. And because you are no longer identified with it, you're unavailable for it. But there's a lot of people that this isn't landing for. So they're like, well, I'm just going to take another program. I'm just going to buy another book. I'm just going to listen to another podcast. And it's like, you get to a certain point with something, if you've really been consuming a lot of information, that you can basically regurgitate what these people are saying. I remember thinking that I had to be at a certain dollar income amount consistently to be able to speak on money, because so many people get triggered when you speak about money in an empowering lens. And because I felt like I couldn't teach about money, and because I felt like I just like money was difficult for me, because that was always my story. I literally cannot remember a time when money wasn't a problem with money and struggling with money, and money being limited wasn't an issue for me. I wanted to go to an Ivy League school because I'm brilliant and I had the grades and I love learning and I love pushing myself. But I always heard the story of, well, if you don't get a scholarship, you can't go. So it was to the point where I was like, well, I'm not going to be able to go to an Ivy League school, even though they were made for me. They were made for powerful boss women that excel at school and love academics. So it was like my entire life, money being limited was a story that I had always knew, because it was something that I took on from my parents. And so I spent 5 years learning all of the money mindset things and all of the money teachings and all of these things. And it was like by the time I invested in my last money program, it was like I didn't learn anything new, because I knew everything. I had read every fucking book. I had taken every fucking program. I had literally heard every podcast about money. And it was like, it comes to a certain point where if you boiled it all down and you look at the foundations, everyone's basically telling you the same thing. And I was getting frustrated because I was investing all of this money into these programs, and I was investing all of this time reading these books and listening to these podcasts. And it was like the needle wasn't moving forward for me. And it was just because my story was so immersed in a struggle with money that even though I knew you had to change your story, even though I knew you had to change your beliefs, even though I knew you had to think it and speak it and feel it before you manifested it, I was so deeply anchored into problem frequency with money that I felt like I just had to keep learning. But it wasn't that I had to keep learning. It was just that everybody was telling me that money mindset was the only thing. And we weren't talking about nervous system regulation. And we weren't talking about actually being able to feel differently. There was some depth missing because it was all money mindset. But at the end of the day, it was because I just was so deeply programmed in this area that it was hard for me to consciously see how deeply unconscious I was in this problem frequency. And I think sometimes a lot of people are also in this situation where they don't even realize how deeply programmed they are in this area, and that's why they keep struggling. And I think that this is more common than not, actually, because I've consistently seen women really excel in their business, and they're the ones that make over $100,000 a month easily and effortlessly. Yet there's a lot of other women who are struggling and have been struggling to even get to the 10K point. And it's like, it's because You're choosing the struggle. It's because you're choosing to still see it as a problem. You have to be able to completely remove yourself from this problem frequency, from this hardship, from this struggle, to be able to have a higher perspective, to be able to actually change your behaviors, your habits, and your actions, as well as your beliefs. And this is why self concept work is so powerful, because when you change your self concept, you no longer identify with the struggle. You no longer identify with the problem. And then you just become somebody who has normalized it being a solution. If money isn't a problem, it gets to be a solution, right? So when we start letting something be a solution rather than a problem, do you even feel the shift in frequency there? When something is a problem, you're coming at it with like all of the tools and it's got to be hard because we got to solve this problem. But it's like if it's a solution, ooh, that feels easy. That feels good. That feels supportive. I want you to genuinely ask yourself, are you coming at the topic, the manifestation that you really, really want to manifest? Are you coming at it from a problem frequency, or have you raised your perspective to be able to zoom out and see it as a solution? Because the version of you who has normalized, let's use money for example, the version of you who has normalized money being the easiest, most consistent, and reliable resource in your reality. Money is a solution, right? I get to use money to leverage as a tool for me to have more time. I can outsource things that take a long time for me, and I can have people that can do them for me. I can pay to get things. I can, instead of having to do things by myself, which means actually trading more time, I can use money to leverage and help me out because I have more resources of money. So money is a solution, where a lot of people still see money as a problem. So they are like, well, I don't have the money for this and I can't do that and da da da. Where other people are like, when money is a solution, well, I can go on this vacation and I can take that first class flight and I can buy that outfit and I can buy that house and I can stay in that apartment and I can buy that car and I can get those nails. They no longer have to talk themselves out of the things that they want because money is the solution that allows them to get the things that they want. Whereas a lot of people still see money as a problem and the reason why they can't have things. So this is something that I really want you to sit with and take an honest inventory of. And here's the thing is you genuinely might not be somebody who has put in the time and effort. Maybe you haven't invested in any program. Maybe you haven't invested in a mentor. Maybe you haven't invested in time in reading books or listening to podcasts. So maybe the reason why you're still struggling is because you're not investing in learning what you need to know and getting the tools and the support that you need to transform. Or you're on the opposite side of that coin where you have invested, where you have committed, where you have shown up, but there's a disconnect and it feels like just something isn't working for you. That's when you know that you're stuck in the problem frequency. And so you're viewing the thing that you want to manifest as a problem and you're trying to solve this problem logically instead of raising your perspective to see it as a solution and then allowing the solution to come to you, allowing it to be easy, allowing yourself to be more receptive, and really being able to change the frequency in which you are approaching the conversation, approaching the topic. And that's why when you do self concept work, it's so powerful because when you change your self concept, if you identify now as a wealthy person who money is safe, easy, reliable, consistent, it's an endless resource, it's always available, you always have more than enough, that version of you, if there's something that they don't desire to do, I could do my nails, but I don't like doing it. It's not worth it to me. So I pay somebody to do my nails. I could roll sushi. I cook 3 meals a day, but sushi is frustrating for me. So I would rather just go out and pay somebody to do the sushi. Some people have house cleaners. I love cleaning, so I personally like cleaning myself, but some people pay for a cleaner to come into their house so that way they can have more time. when you see yourself as a wealthy person, you get to buy whatever groceries you want to buy. You get to go out to whatever restaurant you want to go out to. You get to buy whatever clothes you want to buy. You get to travel wherever you want to travel. That version, the wealthiest version of yourself, isn't speaking about or thinking about money as a problem, and they aren't viewing money as something they have to struggle with. When you are able to really zoom out and change your self concept, it will change your behaviors, it will change your actions, it will change your habits, and it will change your beliefs. So it's like if you've really been spending a lot of time struggling in one area, like money or love, then I want you to start doing the work to start changing your self concept and say, okay, if I was the person who had normalized this, if I was a wealthy person, if I was married in a happy, healthy, loving relationship, how would I think? How would I act? How would I feel? How would I speak? How would I move in relationship to love or money or health or whatever it is? How would you be viewing it? How would you be moving? How would your life be different if you had this new perspective, if you had this new identity? Because then when the old struggles came up, when the old problems came up, you wouldn't be identified with them because you would have transcended them already. That's the work, is being able to transcend the problem so that way you're no longer available for it and you no longer identify with it. If you still identify with the problem, if you still identify with the struggle, it's a clear indication that you haven't raised your self-concept in that area, and you've probably gotten lost in the sauce of seeing it as a problem when it doesn't actually have to be a problem. It could actually be a solution. So I want you to genuinely sit with this one and say, ooh, did Alexa just call me out? Was this the podcast I didn't ask for, but the brutal honesty that I really needed? Because this is something, if you can actually let this land with you and you can realize that you are choosing the struggle, you are choosing the problem. So choose better problems. Choose better problems. Instead of struggling with money, choose the problem of having so much money that you can buy anything that you want. And then you have to be really clear on what you want to buy because you could buy it all, but you're not going to waste your money on everything. Choose a better problem. I'm not going to struggle with money. I'm actually going to have an abundance of money, so much money that I can do whatever I want with. You get to choose your problems, so choose your problem wisely. And if you're somebody that's like, damn, I really needed to hear, especially the money conversation from Alexa, and I want you to know that I've opened up a low ticket membership called Money Moves. And it is a membership where I give you all of my money trainings. And it is a month to month membership. It's a low ticket investment. And you literally can join now, you can leave whenever. So if you want to be one of the founding members, because it just opened up, if you join by this Saturday, you can become one of the founding members and be grandfathered in for the $88 a month, which is insane, y'all. Evidence Bank just dropped in there, and Evidence Bank alone is $222. And that's just the masterclass. You get access to Evidence Bank, you get access to the Money Game, my 30-day money manifestation challenge, and you get access to Currency, my wealth frequency program. All for $88. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And there are going to be exclusive mic drop moments where I'm going to get on audio recordings and I'm going to drop some potent audios for you to really transform your relationship with money. So this is going to be a really fun container. And if you are somebody that was like, girl, I need your perspective, I like the way you speak about it, the money mindset thing isn't really working for me, it's so much deeper than that and I understand it, but I really need some support in this area, then go ahead and join Money Moves, because it's going to be your favorite place on the internet, let me tell you what. And if you're somebody that just wants to learn all things manifestation and personal development, then get into AOMU, because AOMU has access to all of those money teachings and trainings as well. So wherever you're at in your journey, if you're somebody that really just wants to focus on money though, that's why Money Moves is available, because there's a lot of people who can manifest other things, but they're still struggling in the money place. So this is the place for you if like you're ready to double down on learning money. But if you want to manifest all of the things and learn all of the things, then get into AOMU, because that's how you'll learn to become the person who can easily and effortlessly manifest all of your desires. So I'm so excited to see you guys in whatever membership feels the best for you. Also, Unapologetic is my business membership. So if you just want to focus all in on business, I've got you. I've got you. I've got you. Let me know how this podcast landed for you. Was this a conversation that you really needed to hear? Was this a different viewpoint that was actually a game changer for you? Are you really excited to start doing this work to see it differently? Let me know, drop me a DM. I love, love, love hearing from you guys. If this was a really powerful podcast, do me a favor, share it on your stories and tag me so that way I can celebrate y'all and I can see your breakthroughs, because literally one of the best things is being able to just read your comments and see how my work and my voice and my content is helping you to transform your lives. And when I read your comments every day, it literally makes my day. So don't ever hesitate to drop me a DM. Don't ever hesitate to drop me a comment. I do not coach for free in my DMs, so don't try and get coached in there. But if you genuinely had a breakthrough, if this really helped you, if it supported you, then please share this so that way we can get the podcast out to more people. And until the next episode, thank you so much for listening. I love you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you're ready to go deeper and to get into my world, you can go to my website, alexaraysmith.com. You'll find all of my current programs on there. If you're desiring to get mentored by me, then the best thing to do is shoot me a DM on Instagram and we can talk about mentorship options and which one's the best fit for you. If you're absolutely loving this podcast, please go rate it 5 stars and let me know why you're loving it. This will help me share the podcast with more people. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. And until the next episode, keep manifesting the most incredible life.